So now we're going to talk about finding your market on Facebook. And really, this is all about targeting, right? So how can we get your marketing message in front of the right people? And this is a big mistake that a lot of people make. They get lazy with their targeting. They think that they know their market. They think that they know where to find them on a platform. And really, they are not getting specific enough. So definitely pay attention to this video and make sure that you're, really picking the best targeting options for your market, so that we don't see a failed ad campaign. So back to the customer avatar sheet that we've been talking about throughout this course. If you look in the bottom left, the sources of information, books, magazines, blogs, websites, conferences, gurus, we're really going to be living in that box during this video. So if you haven't figured out specific information like this about your avatar, it is time to do so. Like I talked about in lesson 2, there are a few ways to go about this, right? Either you are this person, you are your avatar, and you know the answers to these questions and you can fill them out. Or you know someone who is, and you can interview them and you can ask them, what books do you read, in regards to this specific topic? What websites do you visit in regards to this specific topic? If you don't have either of those options, it's time to research, hop into forums, use Google, use similarsites.com to see where people in your market, where they're hanging out online and not just online. What events do they attend? What gurus do they follow? Books, magazines, etc. If you take a glance into the resources section, you'll notice a targeting checklist. And this checklist is used for cold traffic, guys. So here's an image of the checklist. Again, you can find it in the resources section. But we're going to use this checklist when we're taking an offer to cold traffic, right? We're reaching out to people who don't know us. And this is very similar to the sources of information box on the avatar sheet, but it's very, very important that you do this planning, right? So choose a campaign goal that's right in line with the last video that you just watched. And then these, targeting planning questions. So I'll use the example of bloggers. So we have a lead magnet and a funnel and offer that, talks about blogging and people that blog. That is our avatar for that specific offer. So obviously, I'm not a blogger. I don't know the answers to that question. These questions. And like I said in lesson 2, I called Russ Hinneberry, our editorial director, because he is a blogger and he would know the answers to these questions. And he filled them out for me in 10 minutes and sent them right back. And I had a big list of people that I could potentially target on Facebook just through this Facebook ad checklist worksheet. So really, the answers to these questions are going to give you the interest that we should target. And, this isn't even just Facebook specific. There are a lot of different platforms where we can use the answers to these questions for our targeting. So I actually want to hop into the Facebook Ads Manager now and show you how you go about using this worksheet to execute and to really select the best targeting options. But before we do so, I want to make sure we're on the same page about potential audience size. And potential audience size, you'll see it inside of the Ads Manager, but that's the number of people that you're going to target. So we're going to list out all of these interests that we're going to target. They're going to be different sizes, and we're going to get a potential audience size. So for cold traffic, we want to keep this number between 500,000 and 1 million people. Based off of lots of testing here at Digital Marketer, this is the sweet spot for cold traffic and when reaching out to cold interests that don't know who you are. So we're going to use this targeting sheet. to input interest to reach our target market. And our goal is to keep this potential audience size between 500,000 and 1 million. What's really important to keep in mind here, guys, is the last question that you'll find on this sheet. What's specifically unique about this group? We don't just want to throw out some, really big interests, broad interests that might relate to your market. We want to get very specific, and I'll show you exactly how to do so. So if we hop over to the Ads Manager, and I've already selected an objective here just to open up the targeting options. But after you decide your objective, which we covered in the last lesson, you will find that targeting is your next task. So right now we're talking about targeting cold audiences, but when we do talk about targeting warm and hot audiences, they will live here in this custom audience field. So that will be our way to retarget and to target buyers. But right now we're really living in this world here. Also, please reference the Facebook targeting guide in the resources section because it will lay out all of the specific options here. You'll notice that you have locations. So this is really important. If you're a local business or if your offer is specific to a certain area, you're lucky, right? A big part of your targeting is already done for you. If you're not, then you want to think about where your product is actually sold. And at DM, we pick the 4 countries which our product is sold the most. So that's United States, United Kingdom, Canada, and Australia. But again, this is going to be very specific to your business or whatever business you're working on. Where is the product or service actually sold? That will determine the location. Again, if you're a local business, go ahead and put your location in there. If it's a city or a state, keep in mind that the potential audience size of 500,000 to 1 million, you might not be able to reach that, and that's okay, even to cold traffic, because you are defined by that specific location. So as we scroll down for age and gender, we're actually going to keep this wide open. Even if you filled this out on your avatar sheet, we're going to keep age and gender wide open unless you have a specific message to people like mothers or fathers. Unless you only really sell to one gender, we're going to keep age and gender open because you never, ever know who actually is going to convert. And I've been surprised many of times when I open up the age and gender, I find that, even though we're selling survival products like knives, women are actually buying when really I would have only targeted men. So let's keep the age and gender open. So in the Facebook targeting guide, you'll find more information about this more demographics dropdown. Here you'll find stuff like relationship status, education level, work, financial information like net worth, home type, ethnic information, generation, parents, whether they're parents of children ages, 1 to 3. This gets very, very specific. Politics, life events such as they just moved away from home or they recently became engaged. I don't suggest using the more demographics or this behaviors box unless you do have something that's really relevant to your business. Like if you're selling engagement photos, then obviously targeting people that are recently engaged would be a wonderful move. So definitely go through the Facebook targeting guide and see if there are any more demographics or behaviors that specifically relate to your business. Otherwise, let's stay away from those because Facebook doesn't have that data on every user and it will really limit the amount of people you can target. So unless there's something really significant, like you're targeting parents or you're a real estate agent and you're targeting people that, recently moved or, if you're a mother or, if you're targeting people by their job titles. Let's stay away and let's just use this interest targeting. So interest targeting basically, are groups of people around a particular topic. So for example, Ryan Deiss, the co-founder of Digital Marketer, he has a Facebook page. He has people talking about him on Facebook. So here he has a nice audience size of a little over 500,000 people that you can target that have shown interest in Ryan Deiss. So this is really applicable in any market, guys. You can find almost any Facebook page, and really we'll find that if we list out, a list of say 30 different interests or Facebook pages that we want to target, we'll actually be able to hit about half of those. We're not sure exactly how Facebook indexes these specific interests, but it definitely takes some trial and error. But if you have done your homework and you filled out that Facebook targeting checklist and you have lots of options here, we will have no problem reaching our target audience size of 500,000 to 1 million people for cold traffic. And over here, you'll find the potential reach size right there. So I'm going to take the targeting checklist that Russ helped me fill out, and I'm just going to start entering different authority figures, tools, events, brands, websites, etc., where bloggers are hanging out. So we'll just start typing. Darren Rouse. So, he's an authority figure in the blogging market. I usually try to select the ones that are uppercase because I feel like they're probably more legitimate pages. So we'll select this one for Darren. Brian Clark. Okay, so nothing's pulling up for Brian Clark. That's okay. Sometimes, interests that you write down on your checklist are just not going to show. So Russ filled out WordPress as a tool that bloggers would use. So notice that WordPress has 6 million people. That's a really big interest, but I'm going to go ahead and select it, and we'll come back to that later because we can't forget the idea of specificity here. Okay, guys, so I've filled out a list of interests that Russ sent over, and I haven't used all of them. That's okay. We're, again, going for a potential audience size of 500,000 to 1 million people. You probably won't use all of the interests on your checklist, and that's okay. We can use those for scale later. But what I want you to do is go through this list and check for specificity. And what do I mean by specificity? I mean, if we're targeting the golf market, for example, we want to target mid-range golfers that only people who actually play golf would know. I don't want to target people like Tiger Woods or ESPN. Those are too broad. They're not specific enough. People might like Tiger Woods because of the, drama that he's been a part of. And, Tiger is a big name, and people outside of those that actually play golf know Tiger. His interest is also way too big, right? I'm sure it's in the millions and millions. So he wouldn't be a great person to target. We're going for specific people in this market, avid people that will actually buy. So when I'm scrolling through here, all of these look perfectly fine until I get to WordPress, right? This one's the outlier. We have too high of a potential reach here, and WordPress just has too many people. WordPress probably has a lot of developers that like the page, or people that just happen to stumble across WordPress because it's, a really famous platform. It's not specific enough to really just target bloggers. So once I exit out of WordPress, we reached a nice potential audience size of 1 million. It's not always going to be this easy, guys. This is going to take time. You have to play around with these interests to find those that are the most specific and to really reach this potential audience size of 500,000 to 1 million when going to cold traffic. But I feel very good about this list. I know that Russ knows where bloggers are hanging out because he is one himself. We have a nice potential audience size, and I feel comfortable moving forward. I want to move into the bidding for a minute before we talk about how to target your warm and hot buyers. It's just the logical next move after you fill out this targeting. So once you fill out your cold audience targeting, you're going to scroll down. So your budget and schedule and this information, this is all going to depend on how much you feel comfortable spending and what is the goal of your campaign. So I had selected clicks to website as the objective here. This is for cold traffic. Maybe we're sending them to a blog post about blogging, right? So the budget is really up to you. It's whatever you feel comfortable with, but you always want to keep this selected on per day. If you select a lifetime budget, Facebook will optimize and really blow your campaign out of the water because they think they only have a certain amount of time to spend the money. So keep this on per day. If you can spend $15 to $20, that's great. $50 to $100, whatever you feel comfortable spending, put that here within the budget. For the schedule, again, we're not setting this as a lifetime budget. So run my adverts set continuously starting today. For clicks to website, we selected that as our objective, but I'm actually going to select clicks, what we want to optimize for in terms of bidding, because we want to serve adverts to people who will click on your advert, right? On a CPC model, like we talked about in the getting started with Facebook video. When we're bidding for clicks, we want to set the max that we want to pay per click, right? Because we want to bid high here. We want to bid at least 6 cents higher than the highest suggested bid because we want to win this ad space and we want to see if this ad is a winner right out of the gate. So if we're going for clicks to website, we do want to set the max that we want to pay per click. So here I would do at least 64 cents for our max bid. We want to leave this selected as run adverts all the time. And we've really completed this bidding section here. So we've completed the targeting section and the bidding section for running traffic to a cold audience. So now let's talk about warm traffic or hot traffic, because really setting up your campaigns in Facebook is going to be essentially the same for both. So let's hop back in to the ads manager, and I'm going to back up here and start a new campaign. But first, I want to talk a little bit about audiences. So you'll find that on the left-hand side of your audience manager. So if you do have an email list that you want to upload to Facebook as a data custom audience, that's a great group of people to run warm traffic to, right? You're going to do so by clicking Custom Audience, Customer List, Upload a File, and you'll upload the CSV right here. And it will take a while for Facebook to actually populate the audience here in your audiences list, but just give it time. I find it usually takes about 1 to 2 hours to upload that data custom audience list. If you want to create a website custom audience, so you want to create an audience of people who have visited your website or specific pages, you're going to do so through website traffic right here. And if you haven't visited this page before, it will go ahead and prompt you with the pixel code to install on your website. But if you have visited this and you haven't installed the code, you can always click View Pixel Code right here, and you're going to take this piece of code and you're going to paste it into the head of your website. So you want to make sure it's on every page of your website so that you can go in and create conditional logic. I want someone who hits, this specific blog post, etc. And we'll cover a lot of this in the retargeting lesson. But I want to make sure you guys know, and you go ahead and put this pixel on your website. If you're getting any traffic at all, even if you're not ready to run paid traffic, go ahead and put this pixel on your website. It's very, very important. But in this audience section is really where your warm and hot traffic is going, or your warm and hot audiences are going to live. So whether you've uploaded email lists of all of your email subscribers, lists of your buyers, people who have hit your website, all of that magic is going to happen here in the audience tag. So if we actually want to create an ad, let's say for people who have visited, any of our blog posts about Facebook ads, right? So you'll see we have a little over 212,000 people who have visited any of our audiences about Facebook ads. I'm going to show you exactly how we're going to do this and how we're going to optimize for conversions and for leads here. So if we're back in we are in the Audience Manager. So we'll go back here to Business Manager, back to the ad account, create advert, and we're going to increase conversions on website. So here we're going to input the landing page of where we want to send traffic, right? So you've seen this example. We want to send traffic to this landing page, but really we want to optimize for people who hit this page. This is the page they hit directly after they would opt in. So this is where we placed the conversion pixel, and you'll find your conversion pixels right here under conversion tracking. And you can learn more about conversion pixels and website custom audience pixels in the Facebook pixel resource below this lesson. But for conversion tracking, if we want to place a pixel to optimize, to tell Facebook to optimize, we're going to click Create Pixel. So for this, we would do lead, and I would do something like Facebook ad templates, leads, and hit Create Pixel. This is going to give us a snippet of code that we're also going to place in the head, but it's going to be on the page where their success action happens. So the page right after they opt in, or the page right after they sign up for the webinar. So for example, Facebook templates opt-in. This one's right here at the top. So you'll see that this one's active, and this is the pixel that we optimize for when we're telling Facebook that we want leads from the Facebook ad templates. So going back here, we're going to put the landing page where we want to send traffic. We're going to select the pixel that signals success. So it would be under leads. Facebook templates opt-in. Continue. Now, even for warm or hot, you still want to input locations where your buyers are. So I usually use the same exact locations that I did for the cold audience targeting. But instead of moving down here to target, these cold interests, we're going to live in this custom audience. So you'll find our Facebook ad audience right there. And I'm going to target people who have hit blog posts about Facebook ads. That's what we ran cold traffic to, and the countries that we know our buyers live. And this is going to be our ad to our warm audience. Now, guys, I'm not saying that you couldn't set up this same exact ad and run it to cold interest. You can do that, but you want to think about who you're talking to and at what point you are in the relationship, just like we talked about in lesson 2. So if we're targeting people that already hit our website and people that are familiar with us that we know have learned about Facebook ads and are interested, it's going to perform better. So keep that in mind. Again, you can still run an ad for website conversions to a cold audience, but we highly suggest you have that content page in between to really help yourself establish yourself as an authority. So when we're optimizing for website conversions, the budget, the schedule, everything remains the same in terms of, spend as much as you feel comfortable with. The only difference here is that since we are allowing Facebook to optimize for conversions, we want to leave website conversions selected. We want Facebook to do all of the optimization here. You're actually not going to touch any of this when it comes to optimizing for website conversions. Let Facebook do all of the work here. Just set your daily budget. So really, guys, we've covered, the targeting and how to set up the ad for a cold audience in Facebook, how to set up a website conversion ads to your warm audience. And even if you want to run it to cold traffic, use interest targeting. For your hot buyers, if you're sending them to a sales page, like we talked about earlier with in the Facebook objectives video, if you do want to send them to a sales page, you're going to want to use the website clicks objective, and you would use the same bidding structure that we use for the cold audience because you did select clicks to website. So keep that in mind. But with your hot buyers, you're just going to upload them right here or select them from your custom audiences. Maybe you've built an audience on a thank you page of your hot buyers. But everything is really following the same strategy here. The biggest thing to keep in mind is that with your cold audiences, we want to use this interest targeting and we want to be very, very specific. So now that you know how to reach your market on Facebook, let's talk about how to craft the perfect marketing message.